It is yet another distinguished gathering, as all of us have come from different parts of the world.
My name is Mike Eldon. I was brought up in England. I've lived in Kenya since 1977.
My full name is Aftab Kamal Pasha. I hold a PhD in International Relations and taught at Jawaharlal Nehru University Center for West Asian Studies, School of International Studies.
My name is Eva Munsamy. I'm a humanitarian, the CEO and Chairlady of the Tsedi Hope Foundation.
I presently hold the position of Director at Brencis Group, Brencis Center for Research, Training and Consulting.
My name is Hiranti Karunathilaka. I'm the founder, chairperson of WGF Foundation.
I am Dr. Samuel Ahsan Hussain. I did my MBBS from Assam Medical College and Hospital, which is Asia's oldest medical college.
My name is Chobtunji Stella. I am 32 years old. I work with Budgets Foundation Uganda. I am the founder and CEO.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all participants. It is yet another distinguished gathering, as all of us have come from different parts of the world. Multilateralism may not be a solution to all problems. However, it helps in keeping things balanced. If peace is the ultimate goal, most aspects of life, society, and harmonious living may be managed through multilateralism. In our last WGF webinar, we generated ideas with participants from all over the world on how to maximize happiness in our lives. Today, on the occasion of United Nations International Day of Multilateralism and Diplomacy for Peace, let's discuss how to maximize peace in the world. Through this WGF webinar, we are celebrating human desire to live and let live. So there is peace all around. I understand that world peace can be brought by the decisions taken by the world leaders. However, as part of the civil society, all of us must play our part in generating positive ideas and spreading them as much as possible. So most people live in peace and work in their own capacities to keep things balanced. We must also become more tolerant. We may disagree with each other, but we must amicably agree to disagree rather than resent and instigate while disagreeing. I personally feel every human life is important. We must all work hard, grow into good human beings, and dedicate our lives to the good of the world. As peace is a mandatory part of growth, let us all understand and make others understand the importance of peace in our daily lives and in the context of our respective nations and the world. Today, World Growth Forums is trying to make its own contribution towards world peace through one of our WGF webinars. We have been working ardently towards maximizing positivity in the world for some years now. Maximizing national and international peace is part of our endeavors of maximizing positivity while creating a better world. We are moving ahead firmly and gradually through our several platforms of excellences, such as WGF iTalks, WGF Magazine, WGF Global Business and Investment Forum, WGF International Chamber of Commerce and Industry, WGF Foundation, and many more. I welcome all the participants again. Let's start with our discussions, please. Mr. Mike Eldon, please introduce yourself for our viewers and participants.
My name is Mike Eldon. I was brought up in England. I've lived in Kenya since 1977. I'm married to Evelyn Mungai, who was due to speak, but unfortunately is a little bit unwell. So she's asked me to speak on our behalf. I have been very involved with conflict resolution and peace building, both at the organizational level and at the national level and beyond. I'm an advisor here, a senior advisor to the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, and I work very closely with the private sector in its efforts to build peaceful Kenya with shared prosperity. And I've been involved at the national level with mediation between senior politicians, and particularly in 2008 with the post-electoral violence that we had, and mediation is my thing.
Wow, great. Thank you so much. Thank you. Professor K Pasha from India. Please introduce yourself for our participants and viewers.
My full name is Aftab Kamal Pasha. I hold a PhD in International Relations and taught at Jawaharlal Nehru University Center for West Asian Studies, School of International Studies, where I've served as the Chairman, Director, Associate Dean. And I've also served for the Ministry of External Affairs of India as a diplomat at Cairo, Egypt. And I've been at St. Cloud State University in Minnesota as a full scholar there. And I've authored books on India's policy towards Gulf, West Asia, North Africa, and the broader Arab world. About 18 self-authored and about 12 edited and contributed chapters, so on and so forth.
Thank you so much. So nice. And thank you. Miss Eva Munsamy from South Africa. Please introduce yourself.
Hi to the viewers, and I bring greetings from South Africa. My name is Eva Munsamy. I'm a humanitarian, the CEO and Chairlady of the Tsedi Foundation. I am a human rights advocate and an SGBV1 instructor. I'm truly honored and humbled to be part of your program today.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Dr. Amita
Good afternoon,
Srivastava.
everyone.
Yes. Please, good afternoon. Please introduce yourself. Good afternoon.
I presently hold the position of Director at Brencis Group, Brencis Center for Research, Training and Consulting. I consider myself as a lifelong student of management philosophy, strategic management, quality systems, and human values. I worked for 25 plus years in the area of research, training, consulting, teaching, and administration. And in management, I have conducted many FDPs and MDPs. I've done assignments with some leading institutions of national and international reputation. For example, IIM, Novia, UNIDO, Center Defense Academy, Syndicate Bank, IVA, Semiconductor, ABC, Kirloskar Brothers, and so on. In past, I was chief editor of Management Journal called Attitude. I've organized many national, international conferences, seminars, conclaves, workshops, etc. I have successfully experimented in using Indian thoughts in management policies. I've held many responsible positions in leading management institutions. I also hold honorary positions of Prime Facilitator at Spandan Foundation for Human Values and in Management and Society. I'm National President of Global Project SBS, Women on Board and Country Head for Corporate Development at IAE Global Worldwide. I am mentor for Bharati Global MSME Forum and CFO for SMEs. I'm grateful to have been honored for my work in management science for many organizations. I've been a jury member for various academic competitions conducted by management schools and involved in board of studies of institutions and universities. I'm a part of advisory panel of the prestigious the Center for Applied Social Science Research. I'm jury member of selecting best global brands and leaders with the leading business magazine. I'm authoring book on SMEs, opportunities and challenges, and leadership development, easy steps for a better results and relationship. I am also an active member and office bearer of many organizations, professional groups like Executive Council member for Ghaziabad Management Association, Higher Education Management Forum, Management Research Consortium, Punjab Management and Commerce Education, Worldwide Consultants, HR and Talent Management Execution and Harvard Business Review, Leadership Excellence at Harvard Square, CEOs and executive of large enterprises, Enterprises Inc., and strategic planning society, and many more. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Wonderful. Thank you so much. And then Ms. Hiranti Karunatilake from Sri Lanka. Please introduce yourself.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Hiranti Karunatilake. I'm the founder, chairperson of Saubhagya Foundation. We are mainly into human empowerment. That is our main objective of this organization, why we have started. But to tell you, I've been in the corporate sector for 27 years, heading marketing and sales. But then in 2019, I felt that no more marketing and sales. People need more love and care to the world. That is the year that COVID also started. With that, I quit my job and then I started serving. I have been doing serving the community, but I want to give 100% to the community, which what I am doing now happily. And I'm a mother of 3 daughters. Thank you, World Growth Forum, for inviting me to join your forum as a speaker and a panelist. I'm so honored to be in this.
Thank you so much. Yeah, pleasure to hear you. Dr. Samuel Ahsan Hussain from India. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Hasina, Parvin. I am Dr. Samuel Ahsan Hussain. I am from India. I belong to a small place in Assam called Dhubri. I did my MBBS from Assam Medical College and Hospital, which is Asia's oldest medical college. Then I did my post-graduation in Silchar Medical College and Hospital in pediatrics and neonatology. So as a child specialist, as a neonatologist, I always remain with the children. So I understand the importance of peace, because children are always peaceful. Their minds are very clean. So that is, I think, is very important. We should think like children to be more peaceful. We should be. We should not be thinking bad about others. We should not take sides. We should be pure at our heart. Then we succeed. And I'm also an author of the book called Healing Newborn with Breastfeeding. So it is a very important book for newborn mothers, new mothers. In this book, I have mentioned about the importance of breastfeeding and how breastfeeding can increase the health of the newborn in the future. And also, I am a specialist in newborn development, in early development. So I also help parents in doing good development in the first 0 to 3 years of life. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your introduction. Next is Ms. Stella from Uganda. Please introduce yourself.
My name is Stella. I am 32 years old. I work with Budget Foundation Uganda. I am the founder and CEO. Budget Foundation is a local organization which started with activities in Mitoma district, whereby we started by supporting the elderly people. We visited their homes and realized they were in a poor state. Most of their housing is in also a terrible condition. So we decided to focus on the elderly in the beginning. We wanted to do so many activities, but what we managed to do is support them with some materials, food items, which can help them supplement their food. We did that last year in Easter. Then we continued to go to the girls. We support the girl child education. We support them by teaching them how to make reusable pads. By the time the organization opened, we were in COVID. So there was a lockdown and most of the girls didn't have access to sanitary wear. So we went in Mitoma, taught 20 girls how to make reusable sanitary pads, out of which we picked one girl who continued the training. And by the time she went back to school, she had trained over 200 girls. And this training was so fascinating to them because they didn't know they could make something called a pad. They were struggling with clothes, but now we taught them how to sew it all together so that they can be comfortable. Then we also give them information on how to manage their periods. We talk to them about personal hygiene, how to bathe, their menstrual cycle, the kinds of pains they should expect during their periods. Then also how to dispose of their sanitary pads. Then also we came up with the economic empowerment through skills training, One of them is also how to make the pads. As staff of Burgess Foundation, we learned how to make soap, how to make books, and also the pads. And we go out to teach other young people so that they can be able to generate income. Then another thematic area we have is maternal health, where we create partnerships with other organizations so that we can support women with access to maternal health services, including antenatal care, postnatal care, family planning, so that women can be able to choose when to have children. Yes, I think those are the main areas we focus on right now and also this year. That's what I can tell you that we are doing right now. And starting next month, we are starting a partnership with a clinical center whereby we shall be having sensitization on antenatal care and postnatal care for the women in the hospital as they are getting their visits, during their visits in the hospital. We also have peer learning sessions in schools, which started at the beginning of the term, which was January this year, where we targeted one school where we have rapport, and we got a counselor from the same health center who goes there twice a month on a Friday in the morning. The first topic was menstrual hygiene, then she talks about adolescence. She also talks about HIV, AIDS, STIs, and personal hygiene, how they should brush their teeth, how they should bathe, how they should take care of their clothes, they should wash. Yeah, so that is what we are doing now, and we continue this next term, which starts in May, so that these people can be confident when changes are taking place in their bodies. We don't want them to go through changes where they'll question what is happening to me. We want them to have this information before it happens. So we target girls and boys between the age of 8 to 12 years.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Very nice work. Thank you so much, Mr. Mike Eldon. How important are multilateralism, democracy, and diplomacy for prevailing peace in the world?
Well, of course, they're very important, but it's very hard and they're not always very effective. We're seeing right now that the United Nations is struggling even to find a voice, not least because of the structure of the Security Council, where Russia is a member, and also China that's staying very neutral. Interestingly, right now, Kenya is a member of the Security Council, and Kenya's ambassador Kimani made what perhaps was the most significant and interest-capturing speech a couple of weeks ago about the Ukraine situation, when he went back to colonial times in Africa, when the colonial powers were trying to carve up the continent. And he was drawing the parallel between that and what he felt that, and Kenya feels, and others feel that Russia is trying to do with Ukraine. In Africa, we have international organizations. Of course, we have the African Union that brings the whole continent together, but we also have regional blocks for East, Central, West, Southern, North Africa, and we're working quite fast now on an Africa-wide trade agreement for free trade to flow around Africa. And the whole trend in Africa and with the developed world is to go from aid to trade. And indeed, when we talk about aid, there's another equally significant trend of going from merely day-to-day humanitarian aid to development aid, so as to enable that further progress towards trade beyond aid. The private sector has also become very influential in international cooperation. And here the UN has been significant through its Global Compact. Specifically with peace building, the Kenya private sector has a very influential private sector umbrella body called the Kenya Private Sector Alliance. I was a founding director in 2003. I became its vice chairman. I'm now on the advisory council. And as we were observing the disruption, particularly around electoral cycles, we decided, let us contribute to peace building so as to reduce the risks of disruption around that time. And we actually wanted and have been increasingly succeeding in bringing together the for-profit private sector with civil society, with faith-based leaders, with youth, with other groups to promote peace and to help increase not only the awareness of who will be good leaders, but to align that with actually voting for them in terms of their social and economic policies. And the initiative is called Kenya Daima. It's been going for several electoral cycles. Now it's in full swing because we have our elections coming up in August. And I've been bringing this private sector initiative together with Kenya's National Cohesion and Integration Commission, which was set up as a result of the post-electoral violence here in 2008. It's a unique body, and its whole purpose is to do what the whole theme of this webinar is, and the UN's Day is, to bring about cohesion and integration, and a lot of it simply building around national values. Most countries have national values. Most countries ignore them. No one refers to them. There are some exceptions, and the finest exceptions I'm familiar with are Singapore and Rwanda, where they have a few punchy phrases that are alive and referred to by their leaders who are role models for them, and they're emulated by others. And that's what we need more of. But very few people know how to work with values. They're at the center of my life and my consultancy and directorship work. And I think that if I have a message for today, it's get serious about not only having the values and putting them on a poster somewhere, but having conversations about them from the grassroots level up to the international level, and going beyond awareness raising to behavior change.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Great thought. Thank you so much for sharing your ideas and thoughts. Professor K Pasha, how important are multilateralism, democracy, and diplomacy for prevailing peace in the world?
Yeah, these are three keywords. Multilateralism, as you know, involves discussion among nations, parties, organizations across continents, spanning a variety of issues, whether it is auspicious of the United Nations or several other organizations in Latin America, in Southeast Asia. You have a whole range of multilateral negotiations. BRICS is also there. The organizations have been bringing people, nation states across the continents in their own way. It is for trade, or for cultural cooperation, or for maintaining peace or maritime security, or discussing nuclear disarmament or reduction in arms, so on and so forth. The important thing is the convergence of interest. Like you have the Western countries, they have their own security alliance, multilateral cooperation through the NATO on security issues, or the European Union, or the RCEP on economic issues in the Indo-Pacific region, or new Quad between Japan, Australia, India, and the United States and UK, or the AUKUS, which is new, Japan, Australia, and United Kingdom, or the United States. So in the past, also we have had multilateral forums which have risen and collapsed also, burial of some of these multilateral. The basic theme of negotiations within the region, across the region, and across the continents has been the single most platform for societies, for leaders, for states to discuss a variety of issues, because now the issues have acquired global importance, whether it is climate change or maintenance of peace or economic cooperation, trade, or the facilitation of tourists or students, or a variety of issues, drug trafficking, or the traffic of women or individuals, so on and so forth, criminals, activity, so on and so forth, piracy. All of these issues which daunt the world involves or even space cooperation, civil aviation. I can go on reeling issues which crimes against women or child soldiers, mine clearing, so on and so forth. All of these involves expertise with states, societies, people have acquired. They would like to share through these forums so that the broader goal of human progress, peace, and cooperation is achieved. It is not just trade and commercial interests which promote multilateral co-op. Also, the finer aspects of culture, arts, for example, music, dance, films, physical exercises like yoga, or good practices for the health of human beings in a variety of ways. Several platforms which are utilized to bring about multilateral cooperation. The second part is democracy. Democracy, of course, has stood the test of time, and it has achieved notable progress. But basic premise of democracy is the rule of law, which gives a voice to the people in societies, which gives guarantees so that it promotes peace rather than war and conflict. It also promotes coexistence and sharing of benefits among people. Of course, much praise has been given to the democratic structures or the system which recognizes and protects individual welfare. It is also determined by its enemies more than by the principles it defends, because not only it guarantees institutional peace and recognition of the value of human worth, but it also makes it possible to reconcile the unity of instrumental reason and the diversity of the practical experiences which human beings have acquired over a long period of time. And these values bring together social exchange and political freedom, which is the bedrock of democracy. Although I don't intend to say that democracy would end violence, but we have seen over a period of time that this violence has been exported to other less fortunate developing countries by the Western countries or the capitalist democracies who want to survive, who want to maintain their standard of living, and develop ways and means to get access to the resources which are available in the different parts of the country. So what we need in the broader framework of multilateralism is the transparency. And it is not necessary that all developing countries also should move towards the Western countries in the name of democracy. There are structures which are available, whether it is Saudi Arabia or India or UAE or South Africa or many other African countries, where it's not necessary to have all the politics which are at Western political philosophers, thinkers, others. They have their own indigenous systems, structures of political participation. Some countries claim they are democratic, but they have extremely authoritarian structures. Some countries claim they are monarchies, but still they allow participation in a variety of ways. So in that way, democracy should be approached with reservations and should never be allowed to become a sort of a religion. And the concept of modernity, which is also associated with democracy, should also be reconsidered because normally what has happened is democracy is understood as moving towards westernization. And we have seen the moral decline in Western countries. Apart from peace and democracy, you know, the idea of dialogue is fundamental for peace because it is the value through which world's perennial problems can be addressed. And those who advocate dialogue not only respect the different opinions or perceptions, but love for them. And that is how they see them as a source of enrichment because the human complexity and diversity is based on these differing values system, which sometimes lead to differences. So the basis for dialogue one should accept is the different perceptions, different views, different value systems. And if we don't engage in dialogue with the other person, you know, there can be no peace. So you have two sides for the dialogue. One is called the proponent and the other one is called the objector. As we know, the proponent advocates and believes in a particular position, while the objector denies that position and believes it to be wrong. So this dialogue throughout history, whether it is between the Arabs and the Israelis or India and Pakistan or America and the others or Europeans and the Russians or between the present Ukrainian conflict and Russia, you know, it has taken many different shapes and forms. And primarily, it is driven through media, whether it is press or television or in forums or conferences or consultative councils or parliaments. And it can also take commercial negotiations carried out for international trade like the GATT, WTO, and also between individuals, whether it is in the marketplace or stock exchange. So each of these types of dialogue has its own means and methods. So dialogue has to be a continuous process sustained over a period of time from the very basic level. Differences between two students who belong to two different religions or states or culture, from the very primary school, this dialogue should be encouraged by teachers, by parents, and as they grow, if they have differences between two different religious groups, linguistic groups, cultural groups, this dialogue has to be a permanent feature among individuals. Only then, if we take it to a higher level at the national level or international level, this can be sustained because people would have seen the advantages of how they benefited from dialogue. So this dialogue, in my perception, has to be deep if it seeks to resolve the differences. In short, what we must adopt is an interventionist approach from the very childhood, and the dialogue should be made lively, informed, based on renouncing of violence, because violence is the real threat to society, to human beings, to peace and stability and security. So if the dialogue involves renouncing violence and cultivating a culture of peace, tolerance and love, and through this, the economic, social, cultural alternatives to the youth, to the human beings, they begin to appreciate and channel their efforts towards activities that benefit overall society and bring about development, growth, and also building bridges between individuals and mending relations between various factions, because human minds tend to differ, whether it is based on religion or culture or language, so on and so forth. So if the mindset is revolving around dialogue, this would contribute in a big way to conciliation, mediation, and coordinating the efforts. And for this, of course, the education is central, because education enables the people to understand, appreciate, and promote this culture of dialogue through the schools, through the universities, through the societies, through various channels. So I would urge that this dialogue should be made fundamental for human existence from the very childhood, whether it is in the school or at house or in the universities or at any forum. And from this, it can go to the pyramid right up to the countries. So those societies which don't engage in dialogue, in peaceful exchange of views and controlling the differences or containing the differences, when they become leaders, they would find it difficult to interact with other leaders. And this lack of meeting, lack of communication skills and understanding is the basic or root cause of differences. Whether it is Zelensky of Ukraine or Putin, both desire a particular approach. But if they can understand and appreciate and admire the advantages, fundamental nature of dialogue in societies which have conflicting objectives and different economic achievements and different levels of economic development or availability of resources, which has led to uneven development and uneven indicators of the parameters which are needed for a fair degree or level of happiness which people expect nowadays because of the information technology, because of the media, because of the availability of travel and means to be in touch with different people from across the globe. People have expectations, and these have to be met. The genesis of conflict is the lack of dialogue, because this lack of dialogue is leading to violence. And it is the platform, dialogue is the platform I see upon which common ground may be sought and compromises can be made. Because of the points I mentioned, that whether it is high economic development in Europe or North America, or lesser one in Latin America or Africa or different parts of Asia, this has led to this what is known as aspirational generation. People in Africa aspire to lead the good life which Europeans have, or the North Americans have, or in Asia also, which have not seen development. So in that way, a dialogue allows us to postpone violent confrontation, because different societies which have not reached the level of Europe or America or other advanced countries need to understand, need to see the shortcomings or the limitations, and also get guarantees that their interest will not be ignored. So dialogue assures them a fair degree of share in the development process. It also allows them to postpone violent confrontation, because lack of understanding, lack of dialogue, this may lead to confrontation. Dialogue promotes accommodation and accord. All the structures which have been devised for the promotion of diplomacy, whether it is the embassies, high commissions, or structures from United Nations to regional organizations, so on and so on, and trained diplomats and negotiators who are available with the government, NGOs, and private individuals on a voluntary basis. All these are people with experience to conduct dialogue through diplomatic means and the various approaches through which peace can be acquired through economic development and maximization of the resources which are available. So diplomacy is central for maintenance of multilateral peace, multilateral development, and the involvement of even small states on the basis of equality. Because when you are negotiating with the United States or Sri Lanka, both are equal on the table. And the diplomacy is conducted through the respective embassies and mechanisms through which they have a proper procedure to sign the accords, to sign the treaties, which are basis of long years of negotiation. For example, the JCPOA between Iran and the 5+1 has been negotiated over a long period of time to bring about dialogue, and through dialogue, the peace and the nuclear issue of Iran, which is again being for the arms race between the United States and Russia, or the several other places through which diplomacy has been quietly worked. Sometimes it is open, sometimes it is secret, but nevertheless, all these are part and parcel of the multilateral attempts. I would like to emphasize, which is essential for diplomacy, is human dignity. Societies have to understand that whether it's a black, brown, yellow, or white, whatever, that basic element is essential for success. Then the second one is tolerance. The tolerance is also part, because without tolerance, diplomacy would not succeed. The third one is justice. The end product of diplomacy has to be justice, whether he's oppressed or oppressor or seen as violator, so on and so forth. Then you must also have mercy and kindness. Final element, many third world countries have seen colonial rule. They are willing to forgive and pardon the colonial rulers, third world countries. But now they expect development, justice, and tolerance, which are essential for development of the society. So in that way, diplomacy encompasses all of these fundamental values, would give hope, which would ensure a kind of achievement for the rising expectations of people. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Professor Pasha, for elaborating the entire stuff. Thank you very much. Really great thoughts. Ms. Munsamy, how important are multilateralism, democracy, and diplomacy for prevailing peace in the world?
Hasina, I think it's very, very important given the time that we are living in at the moment. I feel, combining more or less it gains kind of strength by combining different countries and bringing about strength. At present, we all know about the war that's happening between Ukraine and Russia. And then you have sister countries that have formed a collaboration where they can come forward and assist them, where they need help. I feel we can't do all this alone. As the burning question is a peace. We all require peace in different ways and forms. And I feel when countries come together to form this kind of unity in collaboration, they make unified decisions, uniformed decisions, where the citizens are the ones that benefit. At times we can't really always rely on our governments because they do lead us wrong, they do us wrong. But then you get those that have the mindset correct and they do want to see the best for a country. So countries standing on their own, can you do it? I honestly don't know. But I do believe in people forming groups and, to say we can get a desired result, we can achieve what we set out to do. So that is part of the life that we all want. In any events, anything globally, people always talk about peace. What is peace to them? Peace is something we all crave. I've been on a Zoom for Alatra TV UK, and they have this thought and this beautiful idea called the creative society. It's a society that shows you what our world can look like, what it can be like. It's not far-fetched. It's not a pipe dream. They are having a worldwide conference that's coming up on the 7th of May. I'll forward you the details. It's including countries all over the world. They'll have languages translated in over, I think, 100 languages. And it shows you where this creative society, nobody is left behind. Everybody is given an equal opportunity in life, so we've been doing this as far as we can think back to our humanity. We still have starvation, we still have crime, we still have war, we still have, so many social ills in life. So in the same token, we have those that say, are we trying the best we can, but are they doing the best we can? Because each headline we read is something so bad and it's kind of scary. So, I believe peace can be achieved if nations come together and form this collaboration. Thank you.
Wonderful. Really, thought-provoking. Thank you so much for the wonderful answer. Dr. Srivastava, how important are multilateralism, democracy, and diplomacy for prevailing peace in the world?
The world is facing vast range of challenges, even to the extent of posing existential threat to our shared future. Most of these problems are global in nature, complex and multidimensional. World is standing on a very delicate balance, whether it is climatic change, pandemic, or psychosocial discontent somewhere are affecting the world order. In last 1 century, we globally have developed so many lethal weapons that cumulatively they can destroy whole Earth several times. Whether we like it or not, we are witnessing Ukraine-Russia war. The question how to maintain the world order is finding solution with which demands for thinking in a fundamentally new way. To start with, I feel that peace is the fundamental cornerstone for our survival. Peace would lead to new levels of cooperation, inclusiveness, understanding, and trust, which would be used as the tools for the solutions further. Currently, peace is not only required for altruistic reasons, but today it is needed for one's own interest, because something happens anywhere in the world, it affects you. In today's time, no single nation can do this job. Now, slowly, even hegemony is diminishing every day. So what is the way out? The answer is multilateralism. Information, news, technology, even weapons, everything is available at the drop of your hat. So these changes, multilateralism becomes very important, be it UNICEF, EU, or recently made BRICS. The contribution of all such organizations are enormous. Strategically, also for the safety of big and small nation, country makes alliances to get better strategic advantage and power. It works on basic principle, united we stand and divided we fall. Now quickly coming to democracy. In all different political systems, democracy by far have proved to be best amongst all, as it does not concentrate power in one hand or in the hands of some cluster of people. Because of its very nature, the leaders have to respect public opinion. The government is questioned and condemned by the opposition party. Such activities provide checks and balances to the nation in question. Moreover, democracy provides avenues to prevent and manage conflict in a peaceful manner because it gives vent to differences and thought processes by public debate and deliberations. In democracies, leadership also keeps on changing after a particular time, giving governance a new perspective and ideation. In one sentence, it could be safely said that the democratic country is less likely to engage in conflict. So it helps in maintaining peace within the nation and outside the nation both ways. Since time is less, then let me quickly come to diplomacy. Let me start with the quote by Colin Powell. Colin Powell said, democracy is listening to what the other guy needs, preserving your own position as well as listening to other person. You have to develop relationship within other people, so when tough time comes, you can work together. Conflicts are fact of humankind, and we all are different. When views do not converge, ideas clash, conflict arises. The conflict could arise any sphere: economic, technological, cultural, resources, ethnicity, religious, anything. Whatever be the case, personal, social, financial, technological, cultural, resource-wise, religion-wise, any crisis gives an indication to reflect on causes of deadlocks, ways to amend the mistakes, and explore mechanisms to set and deliberate as to what lies ahead on way. How to manage negotiations and handle situations are factors are to be understood in the analysis of diplomatic maneuver. Use of bilateral or multilateral forums depends entirely on the nature of the problems in hand. The importance of competent diplomacy, especially for small countries, it is well known that the survival of small countries depends to a considerable degree of international cooperation, successful diplomatic handling, and linking of interests with other states. Today, more than ever, the role of diplomacy has acquired a special importance due to upsetting of international balance. I would like to conclude my answer by quoting Tony Benn that all war represents a failure of diplomacy. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Srivastava. Very nice. You've shared great thoughts. Thank you so much. Same question for Ms. Hiranti Karunatilake. How important are multilateralism, democracy, and diplomacy for prevailing peace in the world?
I think people need multilateralism and mainly because we are talking when it comes, I think UN has started UN has started this in year 2018 in month of December, which their focus in main pillars are security, to build security for humanitarian, and then I think develop. Those are the three keys they had. So, and they were talking about climate change and other geographically. I think people need to have, especially with after coming with this COVID, was something that the whole world, they made everything one, because we all still believe if you want to go to a country, we need to get visas, and a lot of rules and regulations is there. But when it came for COVID, there was nothing such as, it went all over the world. Right, so I think the world became, though it was a globe, but it became very small. So what happens there, it happens here. So I think people have that mindset of people, we are westernized, we are South Asians, because COVID showed us so many avenues to show that we all are one. And I believe strongly there's no power. There's no power, there is no racism, there is nothing such as, there is no high or low in the society, we all are equal. So those are the things, and I think UN has already having that, they have sharpened very much on this bilateral and then developing all this human. I think that's a very good thing, and this is what I feel from my side.
Thank you so much, wonderful. Dr. Samuel Hassan Hussain. How important are multilateralism, democracy, and diplomacy for prevailing peace in the world?
There is one thing common between all of us, that we all want a peaceful world. We all want harmony so that we have a very comfortable and conflict-free society. Multilateralism is basically cooperation among 3 or more countries. It basically entitles countries getting together and trying to find cooperative solutions to common problems which are common to the human whole society. So, for example, the problem of climate change, which does not respect any national boundaries. But we also have issues like global pandemics, like the COVID pandemic, which can spread from one country to another with the ease of somebody getting on an airplane. So, it is very important to have cooperation between all the countries. In addition, we have the looming threat of cyber insecurity in this digital era. We are going towards the metaverse. So we don't know what's going to happen in the future. So from till now, all the countries should be united. There is increase in search of cryptocurrencies and metaverse, all these things which are very new. And what may be the consequence in the future, we don't. So all the countries should come together and have policies in this type of things. Traditionally, when people have talked about multilateral cooperation, we talk about universal membership of organizations such as the United Nations, the International Monetary Fund, the World Bank. But in addition to this, there are many treaty-based bodies like United States of America and other countries are increasingly relying on broader variety of multilateral institutions. A good example is a group of 20 or G20 countries, which is composed of approximately world's 20 biggest economies. And what the G20 symbolizes more than analyze is that we live in a new world where there can be simply arranged in, cannot be arranged in the quasi boardroom of the Western countries. And there are many new countries which are emerging and can be part of various organizations. Now, regarding the peace, how can diplomacy help? The purpose of diplomacy is to strengthen the state, the nation, or the organization it serves in relation to other by advancing the interest in its charts. It habitually, but not invariably, strives to preserve peace. Diplomacy is strongly inclined towards negotiation to achieve agreements and resolve issues between states. And how this diplomacy, international conflicts can be resolved? Mainly, diplomatic approach act via development of development support or trade. You can either encourage good conduct with incentives or punish with sanctions. Mediation is one of the instruments of diplomacy. With mediation, you can involve in a conflict situation as an independent outsider. So, mediation can also be encouraged. Conflict resolution in today's era is conceptualized as the method and process involving in facilitating the peaceful ending of conflict and reattribution of peace. Ultimately, a wide range of methods are in place, like negotiation, mediation, and diplomacy for creating peaceful society.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Very nice thoughts. Thank you so much for sharing with us. Ms. Stella, how important are multilateralism, democracy, and diplomacy for prevailing peace in the world?
Democracy is important in building peace because it makes leaders accountable. When you have a majority vote, leaders are accountable and citizens can participate in what is happening in the country. For example, when decisions are being made, the press and the people are able to come and see what's happening, and they can give also their opinion. Diplomacy is good for managing international relations. It helps prevent some violence and wars in other countries. Multilateralism, it's important in the country because it helps us, for example, in East Africa, we have there's regional multilateralism. It promotes common currency within the country. It promotes security. It reduces risks of war, and it helps countries cooperate together for a common cause if they have a common goal.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your nice thoughts here, Mr. Mike Eldon. According to you, what can be done to spread love and brotherhood internationally and nationally in the context of any country?
Since 1978, I have been a member of a Rotary Club. Rotary is a service organization. It's all over the world. We collaborate all over the world. And one of the key pillars of Rotary is peace. And of course, the whole general ethos of Rotary is about service and fellowship, friendship. And I have loved all these years of being a Rotarian. My wife is a Rotarian. She was the first lady member of our Rotary Club. She was our first lady president about 20 years ago. And I think the whole spirit of Rotary is one that is an extraordinary role model for what we're talking about here. Again, the general topic and this specific question. And there are other service organizations, Lions and many more. But these global ones that bring people together so that you get to know each other from different cultures and see how much you have in common around global values. Again, Rotary is very good at not only having values. We have this four-way test, we call it, about is it the truth, is it fair to all concerned, is it beneficial to all concerned, and so on. But Rotary attracts people who live those values and spread them beyond Rotary, and including to the young person's Rotary, which is Rotaract. And so we nurture this among Rotaract is roughly 18 to 30-year-olds. And then there's also Interact at the high school. So all this that we're talking about being diplomatic, about having the self-assurance to feel good about others, the earlier you start, the better. And there's a wonderful book that I'm part of a group around the world that is supporting this kind of approach, and it's called Loving Classroom. And that tells you a lot, doesn't it? Loving classroom. It's a very strong word for a school environment, but it speaks of this. And you remember I just mentioned the word self-assurance, how to be relaxed enough with yourself so as to be relaxed with others. And the question then is, how do the teachers, the parents, the community around the school be part of this kind of loving community? And if I go back to the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, its role is to promote this and to slap people's wrists who indulge in hate speech, particularly politicians. Another great area for this is sport. And again, if I can take a Kenyan example, we have two wonderful organizations that promote development, life skills, this kind of approach to life through sport. One is, they're both built around the urban slum areas of Nairobi, the informal settlements. One is to do with football, with soccer, and the other with rugby. So there's the Mathare Youth Sports Association, which is the football one, and the Shamas Rugby Foundation, which is the rugby one. So obviously teamwork within the sport, but a sport as a way of nurturing good values. And these organizations have now built thousands of young boys and girls to become dignified, self-reliant from these most unfortunate of circumstances, economically, socially, to rise up in the world. And many of them have gone on to university, to be professionals, to join the national football and rugby teams, to become coaches. And it's this kind of building from bottom up, from the slums upwards, from youth to maturity, that is required if we are to make progress in this area and give pushback to the negative influences we're seeing all over the world today.
Thank you so much. Thank you. What wonderful thoughts you have. Thank you for sharing with us. Hope, people listening to you will really be enlightened with your thoughts and ideas. Thank you so much. Yeah.
It could be a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Professor K Pasha, according to you, what can be done to spread love and brotherhood internationally and nationally in the context of any country?
A great question. You see, for me, to spread the love, brotherhood, and other issues, this thing, human beings, as I pointed out, expect respect from each other. Respect for whether it's a Japanese or Latin American or Black African or Muslim or Christian, Jew, Parsi, whatever, that element of his to profess his religion is fundamental. And this belief in this cutting across all societies, whether it is in tribal Africa or old religious place in Bethlehem or in Mashhad, Najaf, Karbala, Jeddah or Jerusalem or Ayodhya or Buddhist centers anywhere else. So this brotherhood emanates from the respect for the religion he professes, either through his own language or international language or multi-linguist means through which people try to propagate. So in that way, the respect is fundamental to all human beings, because through human history, recorded history, it is the men of peace, the men of religion, the men of brotherhood who have propagated which we have been talking in the context of diplomacy, peace, dialogue, harmony, and peaceful coexistence. So in that way, human beings in different parts of the globe have come to recognize that for peace, inner peace, societal peace, world peace, it is not just lack of war, but it is the basis of peaceful coexistence, peaceful acceptance of differences, which would promote brotherhood. And in this, the role of the religious leaders also has to be enlisted. It is not to be left to the presidents, prime ministers, diplomats, leaders, NGOs. I think from the very school, from the syllabus, from the textbooks, daily interaction, this religious tolerance is fundamental, which has to be taught across the societies. The first point I had noted down was cooperation and solidarity. The second one was maintaining good relations between human beings. And the third one, of course, is mutual understanding. This should not be seen in the Hegelian argument, which talks about struggle between master and slave theory. It should not be between the master that is perceived by many developing countries as and the slavery which was inflicted. The fourth is wisdom. Whoever acquires wisdom will be prepared to accept love and brotherhood. The fifth one is the righteousness. He must believe in the right path. The sixth one is justice. The person should believe in justice, that whatever he looks for justice, he should also give it to the others also who will be looking for justice. And this would involve charity, whether it is for relatives. And also the subtext is to forbid evil, vice, and transgression. Because if justice is taken as a broad concept, all these vices and evil and transgression also should be kept in mind. The seventh part is mercy. If you have this basic principle of mercy in your personality, this love and brotherhood also can be seen. The eighth one is patience, the perseverance. Those who expect love and brotherhood, they would also expect it to have sort of a reward without measure. Ninth is tolerance. And this is also fundamental to promote brotherhood and love, because if a human being is open-minded, the tolerance level will be very high. The culture of tolerance is the fundamental to promote love and brotherhood. Of course, the love, which means whomever you love, whether it is Allah or Ram or Ishwar, who seek the blessings upon him. And that is how you spread love. Once you love the other human beings and expect tolerance, patience, mercy, justice, righteousness, wisdom, and maintaining good relations, all this would take him to dialogue. And then the final aspect which brings about love and brotherhood is the moderation, and includes the individual behavior. And in his quest for scientific achievements, scientific discoveries also rate him between the literal and whimsical interpretation of scriptures. Fundamentally, moderation is a form of relativity. Thank you so much.
Thank you. How wonderful points. Thank you so
Thank
much. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Pasha. Thank you. It was really nice, hearing your thoughts, your ideas. Thank you so much. I'm sure that, it will all enlighten a lot of people. Thank you so much. Same question to Ms. Eva Munsamy from South Africa. According to you, what can be done to spread love and brotherhood nationally and internationally in the context of any country?
I believe there's one word that's very, very close to my heart, and it's called kindness. We are the human race, we are humanity. At this present moment in South Africa, we have faced a chaotic situation, the KZN flooding, and I live in KZN. And it has seen people lose their lives. 400 people lost their lives. We've seen homes destroyed, mudslides. Homes were standing for ages and suddenly they gone to the ground, taken families with them because nobody expected that to happen. And 5 days of rain brought so much of destruction. And the kindness that we saw from fellow citizens that came to this province to help, to try and do what they can to help the people, because people were in shock. People are now being housed in community halls, in schools. They don't have clothing, they don't have the basic necessities. They have virtually lost everything. And it takes NGOs like mine, and I always say the NGOs all over the world are earth angels. They generally do what our governments can't do, through volunteer work and sponsorships of Good Samaritans that come forward and help them. This makes their work much more easier because they have this passion and drive. This is what my foundation has. We've been catering to these those that are flood victims and the homeless, the destitute. Kindness plays a very important part. It's all in the mindset. If it had to happen to you, you would want someone to come forward, because at that point in time, you're going to go down on your knees and pray for the help that you need. How do you put your life back in order? So that is the most important part, is kindness. And then we have caring. You can care for your neighbor. We find there in every country, there's the forgotten communities, ones that are living in squalor, ones that have no basic necessities. When will we start caring for them? We feed them on a daily basis. Food is the most needed part of it. Water is the most needed part of it. And it's sad to see the conditions. They have no garbage services. They're running around in places where their homes are built on riverbanks. So that is detrimental for them when it comes to the heavy rains. And, I feel as humanity, we need to start caring for the brotherhood. Maybe somebody is okay and they cooked a meal. So I'm not going to say they're leftovers. Why would you put it in the fridge and throw it away when there's so much starvation just around the corner? Donate it to somebody, because it's a hot meal you prepared. Yet there's someone rummaging through a bin to get a meal to eat. This has been going on for centuries. When do we start caring? That's a part of caring. You've got a little extra, drop it off somewhere. Somebody is going to take that meal and they're going to be glad that you came along, through their prayer. And sharing of food, I feel, is very important. Even restaurants throw away food. Why throw this away? Can't you start calling on NGOs? Come pick up, guys. We've got some meals to distribute, or we've got this to distribute. Why must everything be thrown in a bin? And then we have the problem of garbage, which is becoming a big problem all over the world. That was part of my previous online interview, and we never really think about it. But yet we have the municipal services. Not everybody has them. People are living in bad times. And another most important thing I say is stop seeing race, color, and creed. That is how we start to care. Even though we have a different skin color, we all bleed the same red. And if we stop seeing past all that, stop seeing past racism, we can achieve the peace that we're looking for. And this is a problem in most countries today. Even here in South Africa, we still have that, and it's becoming like a problem. So I say we are humanity. We are made of emotions and feelings, and when we put that first, we put humanity first. Thank you.
Thank you so much. How wonderful thought. Thank you so much. And yeah, Dr. Amita Srivastava, please. According to you, what can be done to spread love and brotherhood internationally and nationally in the context of any country?
To start with, let me quote some verses from Asian wisdom of India in Sanskrit language. Sarvetu bhavantu sukhina, sarve santu nirmaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschit kha bhagat bhavet, om shanti, om shanti, om shanti. Which means, may all beings be happy, may all be free from illness, may all see what is auspicious, may no one suffers, may all experience peace. The motive to chant these verses was to give an insight that we Indians have a rich history of inclusiveness, not only for fellow human beings, but for entire ecosystem, be it insects, animals, trees, or rivers. Everything was considered sacred, so to be cared and saved. This is ingrained in us, and I think India can be a torchbearer for the challenging task ahead. Let me take a metaphor of plant. Like seed spreads on the different places of earth through air or human activity, these seeds multiply, developing into many plants, each similar but unique, each having its own identity, but having common roots. This nature's natural cycle of connection and growth is called contagion. As said, let me give an analogy. As atom is a unit for matter, similarly, human being is a unit for society, countries, continents, or world, whatever you say. So it is a basic unit. And let me quote Mahatma Gandhi, as he said, we need to reinvent ourselves. According to me, the best could be done to spread love, brotherhood, nationally and internationally, is to start working on self, whether it is president, prime minister, or any country, of any country or a common citizen. Everyone is an individual. If we are all peaceful inside ourselves, it is easier to spread peacefulness. Human emotions is very contagious, whether it is positive or negative, both spreads fast. If you offer a smile, more often than not, you will get a smile back. If you are ready to listen to others, there are abundance of grief, sorrows people would want to share with you, looking for a shoulders to cry their heart out. If you offer a help, people will be happy to help back, offer compliments, offer compassion, and see world is a beautiful place to live. The example which is coming to my mind is the depletion of ozone layer, as quoted by our earlier speaker also. As experienced in 1970s and later at EU's ozone regulations, came where all countries of the world came together to protect our environment, and because of it, ozone depletion is reduced to 98%. Recent example of COVID-19 even. If countries would not have come together, was it possible to make and administer vaccines so quickly and so effectively? So I invite you, let us start. Let us start our journey within. Thank you.
Oh, thank you so much, Dr. Srivastava. Really, great thoughts. Same question to Ms. Hiranti Karunatilake. According to you, what can be done to spread love and brotherhood internationally and nationally in the context of any country?
I think love and care and kind, all three has to be there around the world. We hear now we have been coming throughout, you and I both have been hearing about a lot of wars happening in different eras, especially now at the moment. We all know, but we talk about Russia and Ukraine. And I think a couple of days back in Afghanistan, there was bombing. So people, why do they do these things? Isn't it people always in power hunger? Even in Sri Lanka at this moment, we are in a huge crisis. I'm not shy to say, you're my neighboring country. Right?
Yes, yes.
But even though, it's still, you all have started to help us. And I believe our country we are not poor country. We were stolen because all these people, why? This human doesn't understand. People are very, very selfish. They only think about themselves and to make themselves and their family and their people. And they don't care what's happening. That's not only in Sri Lanka, all over the world. It could be Putin, it could be, I think now, the Joe Biden, everybody. But they come in different ways. But people, I think, and especially spiritual leaders, because when it comes for a religion, also we have so many religions. So people mindset is also called all over. People don't know exactly. We all know, you and I know, we have Jesus Christ, we have Lord Buddha, we have Allah, and we have your Hindu. But other than that, we have so many other religions like mushrooms. People have become so vulnerable. They don't know what it is. We have no ethics. We have no values. I think that is something we have to cultivate. I think you and like we do all these things, or maybe from your association and my association, but we mainly have to cultivate these values, people, just to spread love. And if you love yourself, I believe a strong person, I love myself. So when I love myself, I don't want to hurt myself. So I don't hurt anyone else.
Right.
So I'm going to tell everybody a simple thing. Every day when you get up in the morning, just see what I could do, not a big thing. How can I make somebody happy? Even by listening to some conversation of somebody's problem. And you can be a good listener, you make that person happy. So I think these are the little bit of things. World needs love. My country needs love. But at this moment, because all these crises and all this what we face today is all because of corruption. And we talk about all these things come because you don't love. You are very greedy for something. So world needs love, world needs care. So we need to spread this.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much. Yeah, wonderful. Dr. Samuel Hassan Hussain, according to you, what can be done to spread love and brotherhood internationally and nationally in the context of any country?
At our own level, we should start bringing peace in the society. What can we do as at our own level? We can start our own blog writing about peace. We can talk about with other people regarding peace, harmony. We can write articles in the newspapers or publish newsletters, etc. Today's webinar is an example of promoting peace. We can organize such webinars so that people will hear from us, from different people around the world. When everyone is talking about peace and thinking about peace, automatically all over the world, peace will prevail. And if there are some people who are not finding peace as a good medium of living, then they will be influenced by us. We can use social media like Facebook, Instagram, etc. to promote this peace. We can arrange peace rallies for increasing the peace. Then we can invite speakers to various events like this or workplace or in the community who are peace lover to have a broader influence on the community. Then we can travel around the world to increase peace, because when we travel, we see the society of different countries, we meet with different types of people, and we come to know the different culture, different society, and by this method we can also increase harmony and peace among the countries. Then we should be helpful to others. We should be helpful to our neighbors. We should be helpful to our other countries, other people. We should be helpful to the needy. We should be helpful to the pets, and with everyone we should have a helpful attitude. Then we should reduce our carbon footprint. Here I want to say one thing, that the whole world come together only once in the lifetime of this world, and that is in 1980, when there is a hole in the ozone layer. Then at that time, the whole world come together and formed a treaty to ban the CFC, chlorofluorocarbon. And that was a massive step. And today, the ozone layer is gradually recovering. So that is the power of unilateral bonding among all the countries. So now, again, our world is in such a stage where we need to be together and promote peace. So with this, I just want to finish. Thank you. Dr. Samuel Hassan Hussain, signing off.
Very nice thoughts. Thank you so much for sharing with us. Ms. Stella, according to you, what can be done to spread love and brotherhood internationally and nationally in the context of any country?
One way we can promote peace is by peace education. We should have peace education in our systems. For example, in schools, children should be taught about peace to avoid things like strikes. We have seen strikes in schools, so we would encourage people to talk about peace in the schools. Another thing is, I think we should review our literature. Our past literature talks about, can I give you an example? Our literature talks about how long time ago there was a strong man who built this big thing. Then they said, then there was a lady who went to the well. So that puts a perception in people's minds that a man is strong and a woman is weak. So it puts a lot of pressure on the man, and it can result into some kind of instability in the home. We need stability in our homes also. Then also, we must also teach peace in our homes. It's very important. Then we should use role models. Role models should reflect peace in everything they do. They should act like people of hope. They shouldn't create violence. They should not be violent. The way they act should create peace. So they should act as role models in the communities they engage in.
Nice.
Yes. I think that's all for me.
Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing your wonderful thoughts with us. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
I must thank all the participants for sharing great thoughts and ideas. Listening to diverse thoughts and concepts is always delicious food for thought. I'm sure our today's discussion would help a lot of people worldwide to understand and expand their concept of peace and how to maximize it in their lives. The general philosophy in the world must be to live and let live. When we are doing everything in sync and while taking care of each other's needs and helping each other grow, all of us grow in our personal and professional lives. A world where people show an understanding of each other's issues and solutions is much more peaceful. I congratulate all the participants and wish the best in your individual endeavors. With this, I conclude this WGF webinar on United Nations International Day of Multilateralism and Diplomacy for Peace, 24th April 2022. Thank you very much, everyone. Please take care and bye.
Awesome. Okay. Thank you. God bless. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much,
Thank you
Hasina.
so-
Wish you the same. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay,
Yes.
bye-bye now.
Bye-bye. Take care.
Okay, thank you so much. Best wishes to you too. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.